The chaos left in the wake of Season 2 hasn't settled. If anything, it's only the beginning of a much larger storm. As the Jujutsu world fractures under political pressure, fear, and hidden motives, a single command shatters the fragile balance. The higher-ups order Yuta Okatsu to execute Yuji Itadori. With Sukuna's past massacre still haunting him, Yuta accepts the task without hesitation, even as new threats simmer within the Zenin clan. Naoya Zenin, furious over the clan's succession, prepares to twist the crisis to his advantage, targeting both Yuji and Megumi as the Jujutsu world edges closer to all-out collapse. Across Japan, alliances shift and dangers multiply. Yuji, burdened by guilt and hunted from every direction, finds himself caught between execution orders, ancient rituals, and the rising tide of cursed spirits. Meanwhile, Tenjin reveals the terrifying truth behind Kenjaku's grand design, an evolution that could erase humanity itself. With Gojo sealed, Sumiki trapped in the culling game, and time running out, Yuji, Megumi, Yuta, and their fractured allies are forced into a race against a catastrophe that threatens the entire nation. The path ahead demands impossible choices, and every step pushes them deeper into the heart of the culling game. Oh yeah, so we can keep interacting and making the anime storytelling world even more fun together. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments to keep the vibe going. Alright guys, let's jump straight into the discussion. Let's go. The story of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 picks up right after the explosive events of Season 2. The Jujutsu higher-ups order Yuta Okatsu to execute Yuji Itadori, and Yuta accepts without hesitation. He doesn't care that Gojo once protected Yuji. For him, the issue is deeply personal. When Sukuna took over Yuji's body, he sliced off the arm of Toji Inumaki, one of Yuta's closest friends. Meanwhile, tensions rise within the Zenin clan. Naoya awaits news about his father, Nobito Zenin, the head of the clan. When a man named Furidate arrives with the announcement of Nobito's death, he also reads the will that immediately sparks conflict. In the will, Naoya is named the next clan head, but only with the approval of Oji or Junichi. Worse, there's an additional clause. If Gojo dies or becomes incapacitated, leadership automatically passes to Megumi Fushiguro. Furious and threatened, Naoya decides to act. Knowing Megumi is searching for Yuji in Tokyo, Naoya chooses to intervene personally. He informs the Jujutsu authorities that he will hunt Yuji, while secretly planning to eliminate Megumi amid the chaos. Elsewhere, Yuki Tsukumo apologizes over the phone for her slow progress. She says her only goal is to eradicate cursed spirits, hinting at a plan involving Tenjin. In Tokyo, Yuji sits alone in deep thought until Choso appears and checks on him. Yuji feels Sukuna growing stronger and refuses to return to school, believing he has killed too many people, including Eso and Kechizu. Choso reassures him that it's all a misunderstanding, and the two prepare to face the increasing number of cursed spirits. Yuji lures the spirits into a tunnel where Choso is waiting. Using piercing blood, Choso wipes out most of them, and Yuji finishes off the rest. Impressed by Yuji's growth, Choso affectionately calls him little brother, much to Yuji's annoyance. Before they can talk further, Naoya arrives and immediately challenges them. Naoya announces that Yuji's execution order has been reactivated now that Gojo is out of the picture. He admits he doesn't care whether Yuji lives or dies. His true target is Megumi. He strikes Yuji and Choso with incredible speed, revealing the nature of his cursed technique. But before the fight escalates, an overwhelming aura emerges. Yuta Okatsu appears, katana in hand. Naoya instantly aligns himself with Yuta. Choso urges Yuji to flee. Fighting someone like Yuta would be suicide. Choso promises to stall Naoya while Yuji escapes. Yuji runs, Yuta chases, and Choso fights Naoya. Naoya claims he has already analyzed Choso's blood techniques, saying only piercing blood poses real danger. But Choso swears he won't let Naoya walk away alive after harming his brother. Meanwhile, Yuji desperately tries to evade Yuta, even using a car, but Yuta's abilities far surpasses. Yuta explains that while he may seem ordinary, he possesses an enormous reserve of cursed energy, even greater than Gojo's. Gojo is simply more efficient thanks to Six Eyes. Yuji holds on thanks to his resolve and Nanami's final words. He manages to block an attack using a knife infused with cursed energy, but he's still gradually overwhelmed. After a tense exchange, Yuji finally manages to break Yuta's katana by smashing the blade with a kick. Yuta is briefly shocked but smirks, realizing Yuji truly is Gojo's student. He knows this fight won't be simple. Although Yuji's injuries are severe, Yuta confirms none of his vital organs are damaged. Now both are unarmed. Suddenly, a large creature appears behind Yuji and grabs his head, immobilizing him. Calmly, Yuta calls the creature Rika and orders her to restrain Yuji. Yuji is confused, thinking Rika is just another cursed spirit. While his body is locked in place, Yuta drives the broken blade into Yuji's chest. Yuji coughs blood as Yuta whispers sorry. Deep inside Yuji, Sukuna laughs in satisfaction. Back in the tunnels, Choso continues fighting Naoya and the overwhelmingly fast projection sorcery, which makes Naoya's movements appear as if time freezes. Choso struggles to keep up, and Naoya repeatedly strikes his abdomen. Despite the pain, Choso comments that he doesn't recognize the technique, though he knows Naoya won't explain while he has the upper hand. Naoya keeps pressing forward, disrupting Choso's control over his blood. Yet Choso refuses to fall. Naoya mockingly praises him and demands to know who he is. Calmly, Choso replies, "I am the eldest of 10 brothers." His expression changes as he activates flowing red scale stack, boosting his power. Naoya narrows his eyes, recognizing the fight's shift. Naoya vanishes from sight, leaving only faint traces of movement. Thanks to flowing red scale, Choso can now follow Naoya's speed, but only barely. Naoya deflects his counterattacks, then punches and stabs him to disrupt his blood manipulation. With a condescending tone, Naoya lectures that a true sorcerer hides his weapon, not flaunts it. He even insults his own elder brothers and compares himself to Toji, whom he idolizes. Choso responds by pointing out Naoya's deep-seated resentment toward his family. Naoya coldly says that the weak siblings deserve to die. Choso counters that being the eldest isn't about strength. It's about setting an example so younger siblings don't repeat the same mistakes. He says he became strong not because of guidance, but because he had to learn through pain and failure to protect his brothers. Despite his injuries and blood loss, Choso stands firm. It's revealed that cursed wombs like Choso can survive extreme blood loss because their bodies convert cursed energy into new blood. Choso then creates a wall of blood to hide his position. Naoya taunts him, claiming the attack is slow and Choso is nearly dead. But as he lets his guard down, Choso appears on his left and fires piercing blood, almost hitting him. Naoya realizes too late that even a small touch of Choso's blood can disrupt his movements. Some droplets already landed on his clothes. Choso gathers blood around his body and warns, "This is where it ends." Confident, Naoya charges forward, expecting another piercing blood. But instead, Choso unleashes his ultimate technique, Supernova, a massive orb of blood that bursts into dozens of bullets, striking Naoya from every angle. Amid the crimson haze, Choso mutters in confusion about Naoya's hatred toward his family. Before he can rest, someone approaches carrying Yuji's unconscious body, Yuta. Choso reacts instantly, but Yuta lands multiple blows to his face, slamming him away. Naoya, severely injured, watches as Yuta coldly remarks, "You look pathetic." Naoya initially thinks he's been poisoned by Choso's blood, but realizes it's not curse-related. He finally understands that Choso's blood isn't normal human blood. Yuta then offers to heal Naoya using reverse curse technique, on one condition. He must report to the higher-ups that Yuji is truly dead. The story then shifts to the past. Jin Itadori carries his baby while talking to his father, Waisuk, who warns him to leave his wife or face disaster. Jin becomes angry because Waisuk says this in front of the baby. He believes infants can retain memories. Waisuk mentions the name Kaori, the woman Jin wanted as the mother of his children. Suddenly, Kaori Itadori appears, a stitched scar on her forehead, and greets Waisuk as her father-in-law. Back in the present, Yuji wakes up beside a campfire with Yuta, quietly watching the flames. Shocked that he's still alive, Yuji tries to understand what happened, but Yuta simply smiles in relief. He explains that months ago, Gojo met with him in secret, asking him to protect Yuji if anything ever happened to him. In a flashback, Gojo entrusts all first and second year students to Yuta, especially Yuji, who was facing a death sentence just like Yuta once did. Returning to the present, Yuta reveals that he pretended to follow the elders' orders so he could be chosen as Yuji's executioner and learn their full plan. But to gain their trust, he had to make a binding vow. He had to kill Yuji. Yuji is confused, but Yuta explains that the moment Yuji's heart stopped, he revived him using reverse curse technique, something only a handful of people know he can do. Even so, because this is already Yuji's second fake death, it's only a matter of time before the higher-ups grow suspicious. For now, though, Yuji's death sentence is considered complete. Yuji asks why Yuta went so far. Yuta replies that he did it for the people he loves, and those people love Yuji as well. He admits that he once had uncontrollable power too, but he was given the chance to choose his own path, while Yuji never got that choice. That's why Yuta refuses to let Yuji bear all the blame. But Yuji's emotions explode. He cries out that people died because of him. As the tension rises, Megumi appears and tells him to return to Jujutsu High. The barrier has weakened, and as long as his face isn't recognized, he'll be safe. Yuji lashes out, accusing Megumi of pretending everything is fine. Yuta recalls Yuji once saying he isn't allowed to die yet, and he realizes Yuji's hesitation to fight comes from deep self-doubt. Yuji shouts again in frustration, but Megumi responds firmly. This isn't Yuji's burden alone. He warns Yuji not to act selfish by trying to carry everything himself. Sorcerers aren't judged like normal humans. The only thing they can do is prove their existence has value. Megumi reminds Yuji that his purpose has always been to save others. Yuji lowers his head, saying his existence has only brought Megumi suffering. But Megumi replies, "Then start by saving me." He explains that Sumiki is trapped in the culling game created by Noritoshi Kamo. Players must formally enter within 19 days or lose their techniques. Anyone who enters without registering becomes a player automatically. The only way to survive is by earning points through killing other players. With 100 points, a player can add a new rule, as long as it doesn't break the game's balance. If a player's score doesn't change for 19 days, they lose their powers entirely. With Sumiki caught inside, Megumi begs Yuji to drop his guilt and help save her. Yuji recalls his grandfather's last wish, that he should help others. He then makes Yuta swear that if Sukuna ever takes control again, Yuta must kill him. Yuta agrees, though only promising to do his best. Afterward, Megumi plans to visit Master Tenjin to find a way to free Gojo and unravel Kamo's real intentions. The culling game is the largest jujitsu catastrophe in history, and they need answers. Yuji asks about Nobara, but Megumi's silence says everything. Yuji understands instantly. Suddenly, Choso offers his help. He believes he can navigate the barrier to reach Tenjin, since his brother's cursed wounds were stored in the same vault where Mahito stole Sukuna's finger. He can feel the connection. Yuta is relieved, though Megumi is slightly disturbed by how close Choso stands to him. Yuji awkwardly explains, "Just think of him as my brother," which moves Choso deeply. Guided by Choso, they find the real entrance, a massive drop leading into an ancient forest. They follow the path to a lift heading toward the Star Corridor Mausoleum. Choso pauses at the cursed storage room, touching the door and whispering to his brothers. As they descend deeper, Yuji notices bloodstains. Yuki explains that it's from a tragedy 11 years ago, when the Jujutsu world began to shift. A memory of Toji flickers through their minds, but Yuki continues forward until they reach the main shrine. When they open the door, they find nothing but an endless white space. Yuki says Tenjin is rejecting them. She hoped things would be easier now that the six eyes are sealed, but it seems the rejection is aimed only at her. Megumi is confused, and Yuta suggests leaving because Sumiki's time is running out. But Tungin's voice suddenly echoes, "Why leave so soon?" Tenjin appears and greets them one by one. Yuki immediately asks why he ignores her. Tenjin replies that they've met before. She then questions why the mausoleum was sealed. Tenjin admits he can no longer understand human emotions and at one point feared Yuki might side with Kenjaku. The name freezes everyone. Tenjin continues, explaining that Kenjaku is an ancient sorcerer who transfers his soul between bodies. Once he was Noritoshi Kumo, and now he inhabits Suguru Geto's body. In the middle of this tense discussion, Yuji bluntly asks why Tenjin looks so strange. Tenjin answers that although he is immortal, his body still ages. 11 years ago, the star plasma vessel failed to appear, causing Tungin's body to rapidly age and his consciousness to blur. He eventually evolved into something that is no longer entirely human, more like a part of the world itself. Megumi and Yuta ask about Kenjaku's goal and how to free Gojo from the prison realm. Tenjin agrees to explain, but demands one condition. 2 of the 3 special-grade sorcerers present must remain in the mausoleum as guardians. Tenjin then reveals Kenjaku's true plan. Kenjaku intends to force all humans in Japan to evolve, not through Mahito's technique, which reshapes the body and requires impossible amounts of cursed energy, but through something far more extreme, merging Tenjin with the entire human population. After evolving, Tenjin can merge freely with humans without needing the star plasma vessel, but the result would be beings beyond logic, half human and half spirit. The real danger is that if humanity truly merges with Tenjin, the boundaries between individuals vanish. Thoughts, emotions, consciousness, everything would blend together, creating chaos similar to the disaster that struck Tokyo. Worse still, Tenjin is now closer to a cursed spirit than a human, making him vulnerable to Kenjaku's manipulation. This is why Kenjaku created the Culling game, a massive ritual designed to prepare humanity for the merging process. The cursed energy generated by players and the barrier systems in each colony fuel the ritual. Even worse, Kenjaku added a binding vow to ensure his plan can't be stopped. One rule states that Kenjaku is not the game master, meaning the Culling game won't end even if he's killed. The game only ends when all players are dead. Because there's also a rule preventing the ritual from being halted, Yuji and the others have only one hope. Gather 100 points and add a new rule, one that allows Sumiki and other participants to escape the game. Their top priority is clear, freeing Gojo. But before explaining how to do it, Tenjin asks them to decide who will stay behind to guard him. Yuki and Choso immediately volunteer. Choso wants to protect his younger brothers and knows Yuji will need Yuta and Yuki outside. Yuki also has unresolved matters with Tenjin, so she chooses to stay. Tenjin then reveals the backside of the prison realm, a special cursed object that can be used to open Gojo's seal. This back gate had been hidden by him, while the front gate has already fallen into Kenjaku's hands. To open the back gate, they need a cursed tool capable of nullifying curse techniques, such as the inverted spear of heaven or the black rope. Unfortunately, both have been lost since the last battle with Gojo. Yuta even searched for the black rope with Miguel in Africa, but they found nothing. Tenjin offers one last hope. 1,000 years ago, there was a female sorcerer called the Angel, Han Kurusu, who possesses an ability that can erase other curse techniques. She has reincarnated and is now one of the Culling game participants. Megumi is stunned. According to Tenjin, Angel holds the key to unlocking the back gate of the prison realm. When asked where she is, Tenjin explains that Angel is located in Tokyo's eastern colony. He further explains that Japan has 10 colonies connected by a massive barrier that forms one long line. All colonies will eventually function to draw humans in and merge them with Tenjin. Hokkaido is the only sacred area excluded from the ritual. Tenjin warns them that the merging process may be complete within 2 months. To emphasize the urgency, he reveals that everyone in Japan has already been cursed as part of the ritual's preparation. Afterward, they go through each rule of the culling game. Rule 1. All players must declare participation within 19 days of the game's start. It is currently 9 a.m. on November 9th, and the participants woke at dawn on October 31st, meaning Sumiki only has 10 days and 15 hours left. If he fails, his technique will be erased. Maki once discussed this with Shoko Yeri, who suspects that erasing a technique is not merely a curse effect, but an attack on the brain that results in death. Because of that, people without curse techniques, like Maki, are safe. Rule 3 states that anyone who enters a colony after the game begins automatically becomes a participant. Civilians are given 1 chance to exit. At the start, the system encouraged voluntary entry to strengthen the barriers, since they are bound by a vow. Rule 4. Players earn points by killing other players. Rule 5. The game master assigns each player's value. 5 points for a sorcerer, 1 for a non-sorcerer. When Megumi asks who the game master actually is, Tenjin explains that each player has a shikigami called Kogen that serves as an interface, while the true master is the automated system running the game. Yuji gets confused for a moment, but they move on to the 6th rule. Players can spend 100 points to add a new rule. Existing rules cannot be deleted, but added rules can change the game's conditions. Rule 7 obligates the game master to accept any new rule as long as it doesn't disrupt the long-term operation of the game. The system is neutral. Even Kinjaku gets no special privileges. Rule 8 states that if a player's points don't change for 19 days, their technique will be erased. Yuji immediately looks troubled because this essentially forces him to kill, but Megumi assures him he has ideas to avoid that outcome. They begin dividing tasks. Yuki and Choso will stay behind to protect Tenjin. Maki returns to the Zenin clan to retrieve cursed tools that were confiscated after Gojo was sealed. Now that Megumi is the Zenin clan head, Maki is free to take whatever she needs. She also plans to visit Juzo Kamiya's workshop and then pick up Panda. Yuta will enter the culling game first to gather information before Sumiki and the others get involved. He chooses to go alone and avoids the nearest colony to reduce casualties. But doing this means he may lose contact with the others, since the barriers block communication signals. The problem is, Yuta once promised to kill Yuji if Sukuna ever resurfaced. Megumi says Yuta can keep that promise if there truly is no other option, but Yuji is determined not to let things reach that point. For now, Yuji and Megumi are assigned a new mission: find and recruit Kinji Hikari, the suspended third-year student with a bad temper, whose power is said to rival that of top-grade sorcerer. Yuta has said that if Hikari gets angry, his strength could surpass even his own. Maki doesn't fully agree, but she emphasizes how important it is to bring Hikari to their side. Before parting ways, Yuji thanks Choso, and Choso, holding back tears, only asks Yuji to stay alive. Meanwhile, at a comedy bar called Public Stand, the audience looks bored. Fumihiko Takaba, a 35-year-old comedian who fails often, performs again without receiving a single laugh. His friend suggests he quit, especially with Tokyo and Chaos. But Ken remarks that there are 2 kinds of comedians who draw attention: those who are truly funny, and those who genuinely believe they are funny. Takaba, who was hesitant at first, decides to be more confident. It turns out he's not just an odd comedian. He's also a culling game participant. A flashback shows the period after Panda was born. Mazumichi was detained and interrogated by the higher-ups. Normally, cursed corpses rely on energy from their creator, but Panda can generate his own cursed energy. The higher-ups fear Mazumichi might create an entire army of autonomous cursed corpses, and even considered making him a special grade and imprisoning him forever. When asked how he created Panda, Mazumichi remained silent. Now he hides deep in the forest with a talking puppet. The puppet keeps him company, and Masamich explains that he can't return yet. The forest is protected by Master Tenjin, and his mother will soon visit him. Masamich opens a small door beneath a tree, revealing numerous small, autonomous cursed corpses, gentle, loyal, and all longing for him. At Jujutsu High, Panda was captured as bait to lure Masamich out. Kusakabe later freed him as a personal favor, but asked Panda to keep his involvement secret. Years earlier, Masamich had created an independent cursed corpse using the sole information of Kusakabe's late nephew. When the doll was shown to the boy's mother, she immediately recognized her son's way of speaking and embraced it while calling him Takaru. Masamich knew he couldn't let Takaru stay, for the sake of protecting the secret. Kusakabe thanked him for that sacrifice. Back in the present, Masamich was found by a scar-faced sorcerer, one of the elder's subordinates. The sorcerer demanded that Masamich reveal the secret behind creating independent cursed corpses. Masamich remained unfazed by the threats, feeling emboldened now that Gojo was gone. Moments later, Gakuganji emerged from the shadows and struck him with an X-shaped slash that became a fatal wound. Masamichi's blood splattered across the wall. With his final breath, Masamich revealed the core requirement for creating an independent cursed corpse. The body must contain 3 compatible souls that observe one another, allowing a consciousness and self-sustaining cursed energy to form. Panda rushed to save him, but it was already too late. He could only watch his father die while calling his name. Panda didn't seek revenge, believing he wasn't human, but he still cried. The streetlight shining on a dead moth became a symbol of ambition ending in ruin. The narrative shifts to Maki as she continues her mission in the Culling game. She returns to the Zenin estate, the last place she wants to be. Naoya greets her with insults about her injuries, calling her Megumi and Yuta's pet dog. Maki ignores him and heads to the cursed weapon armory. Her mother tries to stop her, but Maki shows Megumi's authorization as clan head. Despite his hesitation, Megumi had accepted Maki as the inheritor of the clan's assets and information. Inside the armory, Maki finds her father, Oji, alongside Mai, who is dying. Naoya and Junichi are conspiring to eliminate Maki and her family, believing Megumi is more suited to lead the Zenin clan. Oji immediately unleashes a falling blossom emotion to strike Maki down. Armed with Dragon Bone and Mai's crafted weapon, Maki prepares to fight. The battle becomes intense. Oji attacks with precision, but Maki blocks and counters, breaking his sword. Oji responds with cursed flames, inflicting severe burns on Maki. He blames his daughters for hindering his ambition to become clan head, then drags Maki and Mai into the training hall to feed them to cursed spirits. With her final strength, Mai uses construction to recreate Maki's body, sacrificing herself. In a dreamlike beach scene, Mai says her goodbyes and leaves Maki with a final promise. When Maki awakens holding Mai's sword, her sister's body is already lifeless. Oji panics upon realizing the cursed spirits are gone, and Maki kills him with a single strike. Her demeanor reminds him of Toji Zenin. An emergency bell rings. The entire Zenin estate mobilizes. The Kakuru and Hei units charge at Maki, but she cuts them down one by one. Chojuro Zenin unleashes a massive attack, only for Maki to slice through him effortlessly. Ranta tries to block her, but she destroys his eyes. Junichi launches a barrage of cursed punches, but Maki appears holding his severed head. Naoya confronts her last. He acknowledges her strength, but calls her cruel. Using his projection technique, he attacks with extreme 24 frame per second speed. But Maki, now freed from cursed energy, can match his movements. She deflects him and beats him down with overwhelming force. Afterward, Maki visits her mother in the kitchen. Her mother panics, unable to respond. Maki sees the estate littered with corpses. Naoya, barely alive, crashes through a wall, but Maki's mother, with her dying strength, stabs him from behind, killing both of them. Maki leaves the Zenin estate carrying Mai's body. Momo Nishimiya arrives too late and breaks into tears at the carnage. Maki hands Mai's body to her, then leaves without saying a word. The official report states that 6 Heim members and 21 Kakura members were killed, with no traces of cursed energy remaining. Days later, the Gojo and Kamo clans request that the Zenin clan be removed from the 3 great families, but the decision is postponed. And that's it, Nakama, a fierce and chilling beginning. We'll continue the journey next time. Thank you so much for sticking with the story till the end. If you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.